and we had a very great game. We had a memorable game. We had I wish the Patriots and Seahawks were in the same division type game and would play twice a year instead of once every 4 years type of a game last night as the Seattle Seahawks, my Seahawks, held off your Patriots on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I mean, first, it was an amazing game. It really was. I mean, just the way, first off, I think the thing that jumps out to me, the different approaches by both teams. It's just refreshing to see on each side of the ball. But I think the thing that'll jump out to me more than anything, and because we could talk about both quarterbacks and wax poetically, we got to start about Russell Wilson. First off, we haven't seen anybody here in the last few years tear up that Patriots defense like we just saw last night with passing plays and things like that. Very rare to see any passing offense really function at that high of a level. His ability to, I've gotten on the edge and it looks like they got me. I'll cut inside and get 5 yards on a first down. I mean, he gave the Patriots multiple headaches last night. And I think everything we saw from Bill Belichick, like in the week, as far as I don't see anybody playing better than him right now, I think Bill Belichick showed that. Like, Mike, you heard Chris Collinsworth in the first half. He was a little bit like shocked with the Patriots and how they were playing defense. They're usually man-to-man, in your face, like, we don't back down and we're going to be all over your stuff. Bill Belichick, like, backed off. Like, he was like, I'm not getting in the face of this crew. The hell with that. These guys can run, and that sucker Russ, he'll go bombs away on me right away. I'm going to play zones and not let him do anything to get big plays. And, of course, it still didn't matter. It didn't. And I just think that's where we're at. With Russell Wilson, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, they've crossed over into, like, unstoppable mode with the things they can do. And I found that to be the first thing that jumped out at me about the game last night, Mike.
Put the graphic back up, please, of Russell Wilson's performance so far this year. It is obscene. He's got 11 incompletions in 2 games, 9 touchdown passes in 2 games. His passer rating, despite a pick 6 early last night, 140.0.
Wow.
He has completed 82.5% of his passes. And, Chris, let's just start right there.
Yeah.
We're going to get to the ending of the game. It was a final play reminiscent of a Super Bowl from a few years ago involving these two teams, although the roles were reversed and the play call was reversed.
Right.
But with Russell Wilson, he talked to Peter King after the game, and he's embracing the concept of being the best quarterback in football. He told Dan Patrick on Friday when asked, are you the best quarterback in football? I believe I am, without a doubt. He said to Peter King, I want to be the best in the world. If I'm not thinking like that, I'm not going to be successful. And what he added was there's things he wants to do, right? And Peter said, yeah, he wants to win a championship. Well, I think it's more than that. I think that Russell Wilson in his early 30s is starting to appreciate his football mortality and also his place in football immortality. We said this last week. If you have one Super Bowl championship to cap an illustrative career, you're possibly Aaron Rodgers. To be determined on that.
Right.
If you have 0, you're Dan Marino, right?
Yep.
Or Dan Fouts or Fran Tarkenton. If you have 6, you're Tom Brady. Russell Wilson understands if he's going to break toward all-time greatness, he's got to get more Super Bowls. And it's not about one. It's about multiple. And he's got 1 through 8 seasons. This is season number 9. And I think this is the origin of the entire let Russ cook mantra. But we're seeing it play out. He went to them. He went to us initially at the Super Bowl. He said it to the media, but he said it to them. This is how he wants to play. He's good enough to excel. And we've seen it. The throws last night, good God. Maybe he is the best quarterback in football right now. We're just wired to think it's Patrick Mahomes.
Well, it's okay to have the argument and go, I don't know, this guy, that guy, they're both awesome. It doesn't really matter. But you're right. I mean, it's an argument. I think it's a legit argument where you can sit there and no doubt just go, okay, I mean, one game, one play, taking care of the football, how to win a football game, situational football. It's all extremely close between both of them, especially. I mean, they're playing at an extremely high level. And Wilson's just in another level of efficiency right now. Plus, we haven't seen Wilson really be a part of, for lack of a better phrase, a Patrick Mahomes-style offense where it's just, hey, big guy, get in the shotgun. We got weapons around you. Start wheeling and dealing. This is really the first time we're seeing it where they're just saying, go ahead. Forget it. we're not going to bang our head against the wall and run for the first 2 quarters of the game and get down by 10 and tell you to come back. Last night, even though they ran the football and there was balance, it's different than what we saw in years past. The game started with them attacking through the pass game, and it's just a different feel altogether. Plus, as we see, they got a freak of nature in DK Metcalf, who's, I think, along with Russ, we could start talking about, like, I don't know, is he one of the 5 best receivers in the game? Is he one of the 2 best, 3 best? It doesn't matter. We haven't seen anybody do what he did to Stephon Gilmore since he's been in New England the last 3 years, especially Gilmore. And DK put it to him, was not intimidated by him. So it's just a new mantra, and I think it's very exciting to watch how they've kind of just flipped over their culture and the way they are, I guess, is how they play, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't think DK Metcalf is ever going to be intimidated by anybody when you see how cut up he is and how big he is, and it still is amazing. He almost made it all the way to round 3 last year. I think I'm going to mention that every time we talk about DK Metcalf.
It's
because,
ridiculous.
my God. I mean, if we're going to talk about teams that passed on great quarterbacks, what's wrong with talking about teams that pass on great receivers? Look at all the teams that passed on Michael Thomas. Same idea. This is DK Metcalf coming into his own, and when you have an offense that's going to throw the ball the way the Seahawks are now throwing the ball, you're going to have stars develop in the passing game, and that's what DK Metcalf definitely can be. Russell Wilson spoke after the game. Here he is following that great victory over the Patriots.
Russ, I think the most touchdowns in a 2-game stretch for you. What's working, maybe perhaps more than in the past?
I think guys are just making tremendous plays. I think that Coach Shoddy is doing an unbelievable job of calling plays. We're mixing the ball ball up in terms of who's catching it, who's touching it, in terms of the running game and everything else. And I think the guys up front are doing a great job, man. They're giving me time to make throws and allowing me to try to make some of these throws and stuff like that. So I just think it all comes down to the kind of guys you have in the room, on the field and everything else.
And let me just say this, and I'm reminded of it because he has his neck gaiter around his neck, which is where neck gaiters tend to go. There were shots of him late in the game on the sideline with his neck gaiter up over his mouth and nose. You don't see that from players during games. Yeah. And my wife noticed that. We were watching the end of the game, and she appreciates that because, look, this is a time when the NFL is getting ready to smack down some of these coaches who refuse to pull their gaiter or their mask over their mouth and nose, including your guy Kyle Shanahan, who I don't know why he even bothers to have it around his neck.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to get whacked today by the NFL.
I don't think so.
And if he doesn't start doing it, he's going to get whacked even harder next week. That's the way they're going to do this.
Right.
But, I mean, Russell Wilson, number one, concerned about his family. He's got a young baby at home. But number two, it sends the right message.
Yeah.
At a time when there's this, I'm sorry to veer into the politics, but there's this, it shouldn't be political. There's this ridiculous debate about whether or not you can save your life by wearing a damn mask, and it's great to see somebody in a position of influence like Russell Wilson setting an example that could change someone's mind. That if there is anyone on the fence on this issue, and I doubt there is, it's just the kind of example that we need to see. So even more credit to one of the best quarterbacks in football for doing the right thing when he's standing on the sideline watching the game.
No, he does always the right thing. I mean, that's why you pay him $35 million a year. It's probably why he could have asked for more. I mean, who's more professional, stand-up guy, just wears your franchise better than Russell Wilson? I mean, he's really the perfect quarterback from that standpoint. You never have to worry about getting in trouble. You never have to worry about him saying anything bad about anybody on your football team. You never have to worry about him saying anything disrespectful about the other team to give them bulletin board material. And then go ahead. And then you never have to worry about anything except, he's going to come in here and try to work his hardest to try to be the greatest of all time. Oh, man, what a bad one they picked there in Seattle.
But you know what? I just had a thought
about
Russell Wilson because he's been mocked for being goody two-shoes throughout his career.
Right. Go Hawks.
And here's the difference.
Yeah.
Here's the difference. Well, you know what? I talked to him last week. He didn't say go Hawks.
Damn it.
We've had him on set. He's starting to, and maybe this is the extent of it. But he did do it last night on Sunday Night Football.
Yes.
But I had a thought here. Now, what the hell? It's Monday morning. Let's have some fun. Grease is on Netflix. And to me, I was like an early teenager, 11, 12, when we went to see Grease in the theater. And it was just a moment. And I watched it recently, and it brings back all those memories. And it is every bit as cheesy and corny and awesome as it was 40-plus years ago.
Right.
But it's almost like Russell Wilson is going through the transformation of Sandra Dee to Sandy at the end when she shows up, but he's like becoming a badass in his own way.
Yeah, I got you.
By embracing, I'm the best quarterback in football. And yeah, that's how I'm going to be. And I'm done standing in the shadows. No more Sandra D for me. I can still be the guy who sets the right example, says the right things, does the right things, but damn it, I'm done taking a back seat. I'm done being second fiddle to any other quarterback in the NFL because I see what these guys do, and I'm as good as all of them, if not better. And damn it, Seahawks, if you're not going to let me go show that, I'll find a team that will let me. And trust me, folks, I know you don't like hearing it, and I know it makes Tony Dungy roll his eyes, but the truth is that's the message that was sent to the Seahawks, and we're seeing the end result of it. They were smart enough to recognize we better let this guy do what he's capable of doing. And that's where Russell Wilson has become a badass, Chris.
Agreed. I mean, I didn't think we would be talking about Grease today or anything like that. Beauty school dropout, all these things. So
Neither did I.
Here. But either way.
That's the first song you go to.
I don't know.
Beauty school, the worst song in the movie is the first one you go to.
It's the one that popped in my head. I don't know why it did. But either way. Well, two things there. First off, yeah, Russ, nerd, whatever, corny. Oh, okay. The one thing that I think guys in a locker room, and especially somebody like me, and I think you're explaining it, he's always owned it. He's never tried to be anything else. And to me, guys in a locker room, just in my experience in the NFL in my 8 years, they can respect that. They might be like, he's a dork, but he's always the same. He's the same guy every day. I appreciate that it's not a fake. He doesn't try to come in here one day and try to be tough guy, and then the next day he's, Rico Suave, dressed all cool. He's him, and I respect that about Russ, and I don't think he, what do I want to say, just moves or changes for anybody. And then the other thing, Mike, Seattle, you got to give Pete Carroll a lot of credit. I mean, just for what he did here. This was hard for him, I'm sure. This is outside of his DNA scope here to be like, what? Throw first, bombs away. I want to play 4 yards in a cloud of dust with Marshawn Lynch and, hold you to 12 points and try to win 16-12. So a lot of credit to him and playing through the strength of his team. 2 out of the 3 best players on his football team are DK Metcalf and Russell Wilson. And then he went, wait, so I can't play this bend, don't break style on defense if we're going to play air it out, go attack on offense. Who can I get to be like a crazy Tasmanian devil on the defensive side of the ball to start making plays there? Or maybe we give up a few either way, but we're still getting the ball back to Russ to let him cook and all that, and they get Jamal Adams. So Schneider, Pete Carroll, their thoughts of what they've done on the field and then to match it up with the players on the field as well and what they've done in scouting and free agency, phenomenal, and that's why they're the Seattle Seahawks.
Your point about Pete Carroll is a great one. His mentor was Bud Grant, not Don Coryell.
Yeah, right.
This is a defensive, grounded pound, 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of a mentality. They tripped over Russell Wilson in the third round of the 2012 draft. I'm not quite sure they knew what they were getting. No one knew, otherwise he wouldn't have lasted that long. I remember seeing him being interviewed from his home when he was picked by the Seahawks, and everyone was kind of intrigued by what this short quarterback could do in the NFL, and he's taken the NFL by storm. But look, he's found, I think, the right balance at this point.
Yeah.
He's always erred on the side of not making waves, and I think he's found his voice. And there's a way to make waves without being a villain, without being a jerk. Right? He's still a good guy at his heart. He's still a guy who's going to skew toward doing the right thing.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with, as you would say, Chris, having some self-confidence in yourself, and that's what he's exhibiting, and he's made it clear that he wants to show the world what he can do because he is chasing immortality. He's going to be 32 later this year, I believe. He wants to play until he's 45, but, I'm sure a lot of guys want to play until they're 45, and there are factors out of your control.
Yeah.
You've got to seize the moment while you can, and it has to be hard for him to look in the rearview mirror and recognize, I've been in this league now 8 spins around the sun, and I've only got 1 Super Bowl to show for it, and yeah, I may end up being Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. Not that it's anything wrong with being all-time greats, but it's the rings, especially with what Brady's done, it's the rings that determine whether or not you're in the pantheon of all-time greats. So,
yeah, no, you're right. At the end of the day, the average fan, they just boil it down to that, and always go to the rings discussion. He's already getting into the discussion of all-time great for me, as far as that's concerned. But either way, I mean, I know what you're saying. You win a second Super Bowl, you start to get into 2 and 3, you go to another stratosphere. There's no doubt about that. And I think that point is real, and I think that you're right. He's trying to get there. He's obsessed with it. That's all he's going to talk about. But, man, quarterback and play in general last night, because we didn't talk about the other freak on the other side. Do you want to go there now?
Where we're going now. Well, yeah,
okay.
and here's let's set the stage, because it was beautiful symmetry to Super Bowl 49. Different quarterback for the Patriots.
Right.
But Super Bowl 49, as we know, ended on the 1-yard line with Russell Wilson throwing the ball instead of the Seahawks dialing up a run. And here come the Patriots. It was 35-24. I declared it to be over. At 35-23, whatever it was. 35-23. I said it's over, foolishly. And here come the Patriots, 35-30, driving down the field. And they get that last play from the 1-yard line. And, Chris, what did you see as that fateful play unfolded?
Well, it's a play they've gone to. We saw this last week. We saw it during this game, I believe, 2 other times in big moments. And really, great job by Pete Carroll, because after the Patriots get the completion, right, they line up in the formation. Pete Carroll and the Seahawks call timeout because they go, uh-oh, here they go. They're going to put 9,000 pounds on the line of scrimmage and try to overpower us. And to me, the biggest difference was this. Number 91, L.J. Collier, he's the guy that makes the play. He's the guy that hits Cam Newton's legs and makes him flip up into the air. It was the first time all game on that play that he played on the outside edge of the tackle. He didn't try to, dart inside to clog the middle and then leave that edge on the outside where we saw Cam Newton kind of run through untouched, I believe, 2 other times. This time he got on the edge of that shoulder of that tackle, bounced off, and made an unbelievable play. Really did. And, I mean, Mike, what were you doing there? Were you sitting there? Because I was like, man, what are the Patriots going to do? Are they going to run it? They've had great success here. But I was like, man, Seattle's going to be foaming at the mouth. I was really thinking, maybe Josh.
I'd have passed it.
I know. I thought Josh or Bill might throw that, just thinking they might go all out to stop the run. But
the pop pass they did earlier in the game.
Right.
I think if you put Josh McDaniels under a little sodium pentothal, he'd say, I wish I'd have held that until the end of the game.
Yeah, probably. It's tough, though, at the same time to not call a play that's been so successful so far the first 2 weeks of the year, right? We haven't seen anybody even come close to stopping them at the line of scrimmage when they've done that yet. So they went to until then. But I'm never going to fault the team for going to the bread and butter, just like the Super Bowl 49 that we're talking about. Hey, we wanted to see Marshawn. They didn't do that. So we all got pissed off and went, what are you doing, Seattle? You're crazy. This big sucker just broke 7 tackles the play before to get you to the 1-yard line. Why wouldn't you give it to him again? I have a feeling we'd be saying the same thing, too, though, if they did try to do the pass and somebody tipped it or it didn't work out the right way. We'd go, why wouldn't you just run it with 900 pounds of Cam Newton and lead blockers and everything like that? So I'm not going to fault the call. It was just a great play by Seattle, and New England went to the well probably one too many times on that one.
You've heard from us on the final play. Let's hear now from some of the key figures who influenced and actually participated in that moment.
What's running through the coach's mind as they make the decision there?
About what you would think it would be. We had one play to score, and we tried to go with what we thought was our best play. What else is there to think about?
I saw a clip of it. I could have made it right by just bouncing it. I was just trying to be patient, just thinking too much, man. Normally, or even just diving over the top. So many different things that flashed over me, and playing a fast defense like that. As soon as you guess, you're wrong.
We took a shot at that play. It's been real successful for him earlier, and so we got after it, and the guys did a fantastic job of adjusting right there on the fly, and we got it done. It was an amazing play, amazing moment. I'd love to go back out there and do it all over again if we could.
Yeah, maybe they will in a few months, Chris. They both teams are looking pretty damn good, and it's a shame someone had to lose that one. I understand why you play to your strength in that spot, and you know how it goes.
Yeah.
If it works, hey, you're a genius. If it doesn't work, and even if you're Bill Belichick, usually when it doesn't work for Bill Belichick, you don't get questioned. But rarely do we see a situation like that where the Patriots are on the brink of a victory in an up or down, win or lose, pass-fail scenario.
Right.
And it doesn't work out for them. Well, how often does that happen, right? It usually doesn't happen. I mean, they're not in that situation very often because usually they're winning the game, not trying to come back and win it on the last drive. But, look, hey, bottom line is you got to call a play, you got to give it a try, and you never know what the alternative would have done, period. We're not privy to an alternate universe where they passed it at the goal line instead of running it, so maybe a pass wouldn't have worked either.
No, I mean, who knows? And you're right. Hey, listen, Chris Collinsworth, he's all over these two teams, right? I mean, he knows everything. He gives us so many good things to talk about and think about during the game. Even him during the game was going, this play's unstoppable. Nobody's going to stop this. So I understand it. I do. You can't fault the play. Seattle just made a great play in a big moment. And New England will readjust. You're right. We don't see New England come up short very much in those type of situations. Definitely not. But I think there is a silver lining for New England because we went into the game going, wait, the New England run game, all the tricky things you can do with Cam Newton, what are they going to do? There's no weapons in the pass game. There's no weapons. How is he going to be able to throw the football? Because that's what I was told all year. Last year, that's all we heard. So how about that? I mean, yes, he can throw the football. This is just going to this is a game, even though they lost, I really think New England's offense is going to come away going, okay, there's nothing we can't do. It's official. This big guy here understands how to read the field. He can make unbelievable throws, scrambled when he need to. And then, of course, all the things they could do in the run game and everything like that. So it's something to build on nonetheless. I think that's what's encouraging for Cam Newton, the Patriots, McDaniels, Belichick. We're still early on in their shelf life here, and they've shown us 2 weeks of going, whoa, there's some big-time potential here.
Yeah, it's a pick-your-poison type of an offense, much like what the Chiefs are trying to develop with rookie Clyde Edwards-Helaire. However, though, and we can focus on the decision at the goal line, but the reality is maybe they should have had more than one crack at the goal line.
Yeah, that's real.
The curious decision, let's set the stage here.
Yeah.
1st and 10 from the Seattle 31. The ball was snapped with 36 seconds on the clock. They get the ball down to the Seattle 13 on an 18-yard pass to Julian Edelman.
Right.
And then it's tick, 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 tick. 23 total seconds went off the clock between the start of the first play and the start of the next play. I mean, there's some valuable opportunities there to get the ball close to the end zone and punch it over, and you're still at the 13. What are you doing? It's not like you're on the 3. You're at that 13. And who knows why Bill Belichick did what he did. Let's hear from Bill Belichick directly on why he did what he did, or maybe we won't hear from him much at all. Here he is.
Was there a thought at all to take a timeout after the long play to Julian there at the end?
Seattle took a timeout. I mean, what are you talking about?
I think clock ran down from 36 seconds to 13 after the 18-yard completion to Edelman.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Bill,
right?
he's still sitting there. For those of you listening on Sirius XM 211, Bill Belichick is still sitting there. And Stacey James eventually intervenes and says, let's go to the next question.
So that answered it. That was the answer.
Well, I got nothing to say. And, we're just a week removed from Vic Fangio with that head-scratching failure to call timeouts late in the game against Mike Vrabel and the Titans. This was worse. I mean, you're at the 13. You still have work to do. I don't know. Was he surprised by the fact that they got the ball down to the 13? It just was odd. But and this is so different because remember, Belichick did this against the Seahawks at Super Bowl 49. As they were moving closer and closer to the goal line, he didn't call timeouts in order to get the ball back. This wasn't about using timeouts to, give yourself more time to score. This is, hey, I don't want to get the ball back with 3 seconds left if they do score. And when he didn't call that timeout, people wondered what was going on. And I think he looked across the sideline and he sensed the disarray that was happening in Seattle, and he thought, you know what, if I just go ahead and let them continue this, they're going to do something that is going to help us tremendously, and they ultimately did. The disarray last night was on his own sideline. Who's not calling a timeout there? Who's making that decision to not kill the clock when you've got timeouts? Again, you don't take them home with you, and you better use them while you can, while you still have time to try to reverse the outcome.
Yeah, listen, it was shocking. There's no doubt about it. Now, I think there's two things here. First off, I mean, you're right. You never see Bill make these type of mistakes. It's very rare, very rare. I mean, it's very calculated. I think the fact that he didn't answer that and the way he answered it kind of tells you he probably doesn't like his own decision when it came to that either, and realizing that. But I think the other two things, too, here would be, and I don't know why he didn't call timeout, but I'm just trying to, one, it took a little bit longer for them to get up to the line and spike the ball. The other thing is Julian Edelman caught the ball on the sideline going out of bounds. I do wonder if they just thought, like, wait, did he go out of bounds? Did we get a clock stoppage? It just seemed like, hey, we got the pass, and it was a little bit of a delay before I saw Cam going like, hey, come on, everybody, let's spike it, and giving all the signals and doing all that. So maybe there was some indecisiveness there. Either way, you're right. It's very rare. And when I watch back on TV, I think on that play that was snapped at 36 seconds that you're talking about, I believe the guy was tackled with 29 seconds, and then they don't stop the clock till 9. So that's
still
20 seconds.
Yeah,
well, yeah, that's 20 seconds.
It was down to 13 seconds when the next play started.
Right.
And then the timeout was taken by Seattle after that play, more to kind of gather and regroup.
Right.
It wasn't to stop the clock. That's what made Bill's explanation even stranger. Seattle didn't take a timeout to stop the clock. The clock was stopped after the incompletion to Edelman with 9 seconds left after that play. Nobody took a timeout to kill the clock while it was tick, 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 ticking away.
Right.
What could have been another, I don't know, it was 1st and goal at the 1.
No.
I don't know how many opportunities they would have had if that first one didn't go through. Now, here's
a play. I think they costed themselves a play. They costed themselves one more shot. Now, the timeout came in handy because they could attack and got the ball at the one yard line. But I do think that if they take the timeout after that play, maybe it's 2 plays, really, right? I mean, again, especially if you talk about like attacking the end zone, right, Mike, where it's like we're going to attack the end zone maybe all 4 times, then I do think they probably could have got 4 plays off. Yeah, certainly. But, at the same time, I don't know, they could have thrown a ball down to the 1 yard line and then had to get up there and spike the ball, and we could have been in the same scenario too. So,
but let's break it down. Let's break it down.
Go ahead.
From the moment they got to the 13 and didn't call the timeout, they had 3 more plays. They had the pass to Julian Edelman that was dropped. They had the pass to N'Keal Harry down to the 1, the 12-yarder that almost got to the end zone.
The pass to Julian Edelman was the spiking
the
ball, wasn't it? Isn't that just spiking, right? Right. So
it may have been spiking.
Yeah.
It says passing complete short middle to Julian Edelman.
That's right. He did.
There was a drop.
You're right.
Okay. And then they had the last play, 1st and goal from the 1.
Right.
So let's go alternate universe. They call timeout with 29 seconds left when that play ends.
Yeah.
They got 1st and 10 from the 13 with 29 seconds. Now, that's their last timeout. They would have been out of timeouts at that point. But you're 1st and 10 from the 13 with 29 seconds left.
Yeah.
1st and 10 from the 13. You got enough time to run a play up the middle and spike it quickly because your guys aren't moving very far. They got 13 yards between where they are in the end zone.
That'll save you.
Right. I think you get. Then there's less of that hair on fire. I mean, you can be a little more strategic. You can be a little more tactical. And, yeah, if you get tackled in bounds, you can kill the clock. But I just feel like they could have operated a little more flexibly, a little more freely, and maybe it wouldn't have been that all eggs in one basket from the 1 yard line last play of the game. Maybe get a couple shots at the end zone. You can be a little more deliberate. You can keep Seattle guessing a little bit. That's instead of 29 seconds, there's 9 seconds after that first play from 1st and 10 on the 13. And if it was any other coach, we'd be body slamming him. That's the reality. That's what 6 rings buys you, folks. If it was any other coach, if it was Jason Garrett last year with the Cowboys, any other coach this year, we'd be saying, what in the hell was this guy doing not taking his time out? But with Bill Belichick, he can sit there through 30 seconds of awkward silence and still not get criticized as aggressively as any other coach.
No, he won't. You're right. I mean, that's just the facts of the situation. And, in a lot of ways, he deserves that too. The fact that he gets a little leeway there. I think he's proven to us that Yeah, he's not perfect, but damn, he's the closest thing we've ever seen as far as a head coach in the NFL in these situations. But agreed with you, Mike. I mean, there's no question that it cost them a play, maybe two, of another shot at the end zone or making the situation a little easier, whatever that may be. Yeah, I agreed with you there, and I'm shocked that they didn't call the timeout. I don't know what went on, and I would love to hear an explanation. Maybe we'll hear something more from Bill today when he thinks about this a little bit more. But, regardless, he's going to be able to walk away and go, damn, my quarterback, week 1, showed me I can run the ball. Week 2, he showed me, hey, even when they take away the run, he can move the ball through the air and then move the ball in very clutch situations. I mean, like you said, it was over, down 12, right? I mean, bing, bang, boom, they're right down the field, and you're going, uh-oh, watch out. So I think that's the big thing. We saw Cam Newton in this offense, I think, come alive in its totality, and we'll see where it goes from here. And I will say this last thing, Mike. I do think last night was the first time, or it's only the second game. Of course, it's the first time. But Dante Hightower, Patrick Chung, there was a few plays there, some miscommunication. You saw Swain catch the wide-open pass where no one's covering him, right? I mean, I think those were a few things where you go, hey, there's the newness of this Patriots defense and some of these new guys, where you saw some communication issues and some people bust some assignments last night that you usually don't see on that New England defense.
One last thing on Cam Newton before we take a break. I've seen people saying, how in the hell was Cam Newton unsigned all those months? Why did no one else with quarterback needs?
Are these the same people that were telling me I was crazy for putting him at number 10 in my quarterback rankings? Or probably the same people, but now they're going to tell you it's crazy, right?
We didn't know he was healthy.
Yep.
Nobody knew whether or not he was healthy. And secondly, the teams that already have their entrenched starters don't want this guy as their backup. I remember the report that came out he's willing to be a backup, but why the hell would he be willing to be a backup? If he's healthy, he should be no one's backup. So you're going to bring in total disruption to your team after you've made a long-term commitment. I mean, think about, and this one's an easy one. This is as low-hanging as the low-hanging fruit gets. Cam Newton and Kirk Cousins right now. Night and day difference. But you've made the $33 million a year investment in Kirk Cousins. You can't bring in Cam Newton and have the players realize after one practice that Cam Newton's a better quarterback overall, that he can move away from pressure instead of collapse like a folding chair. No, that's the dilemma. And it worked out perfectly for the Patriots. It's working out perfectly for Cam, and even though they lost last night, this is a team that's going to win plenty of games as long as Cam stays healthy, and we'll see if that happens.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.